can be, where there's a very low occupancy rate, a very low vacancy rate
Right.
on street level, and as opposed to like a town like Taunton, where it's a very high occupancy rate downtown ground level.
Well, the Mansfield itself downtown, the problem is parking, as like most towns has the same problem.
Right.
You know, but we don't want downtown to become
Right.
a ghost town.
Now, Representative Jay Barrows, I saw him last night. He was actually discussing something with, and I heard him say something. It makes sense. If you take one of these smaller block buildings and just say level it,
Right.
what can you put in there that it's nothing more than that? I mean, it's still the same amount of retail space. It's a difficult situation with the layout of the town. The way the streets are configured, the parking, again, we talked about, you know, they've got to get the train parking away a little bit. And, you know, I think the parking on the side of the former Glee Gifts was a florist now.
That's right.
And they had that one little spot where they had, you know, 10-minute parking. And that, I think that was a boon to you because people could just run in and grab a takeout order and leave. And they stopped that.
Sure.
So it's, you know, little things like that do make it harder.
It absolutely does. I mean, but, you know, I mean, I suppose if you're good at what you do, I mean, people will come.
Oh, they do.
There's absolutely no doubt about it. But the thing is,
drive downtown any Friday, Saturday, Thursday night. You can't get it gets awful crowded.
But we still need to try to make it more convenient for you know, for customers.
Right. Now, getting back to some of this food, we talked a lot last week about sushi.
Right.
You had sushi at one point.
We did.
You did. Okay. You no longer do that, or?
We actually had a very, very, very successful sushi concept. We no longer have it anymore.
Okay.
One of the biggest issues that we had is when you have a sushi restaurant, your sushi bar really need to be closer to your kitchen.
Right.
We did this makeshift sushi bar in the front part of the restaurant, and although come weekend we couldn't keep it up.
Right.
Come weekdays, you know, it was not very, very popular, not very, very busy.
Right.
So we no longer do that anymore. But as you know, there's going to be quite a bit more coming to town locally here in Foxborough. So
yeah, actually, I guess the selectmen approved, you know, pertaining to certain conditions, we're gonna have a Japanese-style steakhouse opening up in town.
That's right.
Actually, I did not realize it. I was at the meeting last night and left before the owner got there. I actually know the fella.
Sure.
So I know him.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I know him pretty well. Nice fella, got a nice family.
Right.
Wish him luck in town, and hopefully maybe once he gets his situated, we'll have him down here.
Sure.
So the sushi, it's a good thing, but the layout was a little difficult for you.
The layout was different. You know, it was a learning process for me. Okay. Now, not saying the fact that we won't do it again.
Right.
We have a larger space, which you know, right now we do have a space next door to us.
Well, we were going to get to that.
You know,
you're reading my mind.
So I mean, that might be an option. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Now that space next to you was actually bigger than what you have now.
No, actually, that was formerly Amia's hair salon, which prior to that was Linda Jodas'.
Linda Jodas, right.
It's been two very great neighbors of mine. We've been together for 20-some odd years.
Right.
The space itself actually is the same size as Chengdu Mansfield.
It is.
It is.
Maybe it's configured differently.
It just seems bigger because you can go from the front all the way to the back.
Right.
Where you go from the front to the back of my restaurant, you're going to go to my kitchen.
Right.
So what most people see is the dining room, they don't see the kitchen.
I gotcha.
You know, but, you know, there might be a possibility, might think about doing that, but...
a little expansion.
Expansion, I mean, I think we need expansion. Besides this, what we do here, which is not even what we call advertisement, we actually try to introduce our business a little bit.
Right.
We don't advertise. Okay. So we're trying to, you know, possibly maybe make the expansion down the road, see what we can do.
Speaking of advertising, got to ask you this. There was a lot of this, the talkmansfield.org blog site and other places. I guess there was, you know, the plastic signs.
Sure.
I can't think of the name of them, but I bought them for myself.
Right.
The Coroplast.
Thank
you very much. And you had put those about, you know, through the industrial area and everything. Right. So, and there was a lot of talk about those signs, and it struck me as because everybody's doing it, and I was just wondering why. You know, there was a lot of talk aimed at yours, and I didn't understand. Maybe yours were prettier. I don't know. Did you get any feedback from people on that?
We did. We actually got some feedback. Some are positive, some are negative.
Right.
I think majority of the jousting has been online, which I have not even take a look at.
Right.
But I think one of the reasons why the restaurant is being talked about more than the other businesses actually doing the same is that we actually started doing it,
Right.
which we never have in the past.
Right. Now, there's other real nice Asian restaurants in town. I know Mr. Kwan down the street.
Sure.
He's more of a takeout restaurant. So
Over there it is.
Yeah, and hit that location. He does have other restaurants.
He has a very fine restaurant in North Attleboro.
Right, and the one in Mansfield, though, is basically takeout.
That's correct.
Okay, and then we have Peter down the other end of town.
That's correct.
And he's different because he's not in the center of town.
That's correct. Right.
I don't know how much longer. We got more time on the show, but I don't know how much longer I can hold Eddie off.
Feel free. Eddie, go grab a plate. Go for it.
So let's change gears here. Let's talk about your family a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Wife, how many kids?
I got three.
Three? One of each?
I got two girls. My oldest is Ashley. My middle child is Paige, and my youngest son is 6. His name is Hunter.
Okay, and what grades are they in?
We have a going on to 5. We have one that's going on to 2nd grade.
Oh boy.
And one that's going on to kindergarten.
Okay. Now the 2nd grade, is that the Jordan Jackson or is that the Robinson School?
Well, if I'm not, my wife won't kill me because maybe I'll screw this one up. I believe it's Robinson School.
Yeah, I think.
That's right.
Right, for where you live, I think that's probably where they go. But I'm not,
That's right.
you know, it's been a long time. 2nd grade was a long time for me.
That's right.
My wife and I are just, we're new empty nesters now. So
Sure.
we're getting used to that.
Sure.
The restaurant must take up a lot of your time.
Actually, you know, for the last few years have not been as bad.
Really?
I know a lot of my friends who are restaurateurs and who spend sometimes I think unnecessary 80, 90 hours at their place of business because they just feel like they have to.
Right.
I think over the years we're able to adapt a lot of my chefs. I mean, our average, you know, personnel that works for us has a tenureship of about 8 to 9 years.
Wow.
So they're very, very well groomed for the job.
Very good. Let me bring up one more point about the restaurants, and we'll get back to your personal stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
But I just happen to see around town. There's just a general aura that the restaurant people in town, as a group, all seem to get along pretty good.
We do.
You know,
Absolutely.
I think you all. I mean, you don't see, you know, there's this friendly competition,
Sure.
and I don't ever see anything, you know, negative, anything, you know, anything bad or anything. You guys all seem, all the people that run these restaurants just all seem to know each other. They all
do.
seem to get along.
very good
They all
friends.
work together.
Right.
Let's see. I know your neighbor Rob next door.
Sure.
The ice machine went down one day, and you hooked him up while it was
We do
being
that,
repaired,
or vice versa.
and
I would
vice
go across the
versa.
street, or
Yeah, and
I call George, you know, for Jimmy's Pub for this, and I call, you know, John from Gino's for a CO2 tank.
borrow a cup of sugar.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you folks all visit each other's
We do.
restaurant.
We
Yeah,
absolutely do.
Yep.
We
And
absolutely
it's not reconnaissance. It's fun.
No, not at all. I mean, I think we've all been around for a long, long, long time.
Right.
You know, and we have different styles of foods.
Right.
And there's absolutely no reason why anybody should feel any bad feelings about the other restaurateurs.
No. Back to you now, personally. What do you like to do when you're not slaving over that hot stove or working at that bar?
Well, I like to golf.
You like to golf. Do you go anywhere special?
We actually play Foxborough Country Club a lot.
Nice.
A lot of my friends actually belongs there. I grew up in Foxborough,
Yep.
as you know. So that's kind of a place where you know we go often and we meet our friends and we have some fun.
Right.
You know?
I've seen you. I see you around. I see you around town
Sure.
here and there during the, you know.
Right. But besides that, you know, it's the rigmaroles, you know, of raising 3 children. You know, lots of activities.
Yeah.
Lots of
Wait till
things
you
to
get a
do.
little older.
That's right.
I find that when they're, and this is just my own experience, when they're about 15 years old is the
Right.
toughest time because they're constantly got to be going somewhere, and they're
Right.
not old enough to get there on their own yet.
Sure.
So you're constantly going to the mall.
Right.
You're just never stop, and
Right.
it's a rough year for a parent.
I'm
'cause
not quite there yet, so I'm going to enjoy the next 5 before Ashley turns
It goes
15.
real fast.
Sure.
Yeah. Did you do anything special this summer? You go anywhere?
We're down at Cape for a week.
Yeah.
We're down at Dennis, which, as you know, there's lots of Mansfield nights down there.
Yep.
George Pantos be one of them.
Yep.
Kevin, you know,
Yep.
Kevin from Kevin Guarini, their family's down there too as well.
Yeah.
But then we also went down to Situate. A friend of mine has a nice beach home on down on the water.
Oh, okay.
So we're just down there.
Is
about a
the
week and a half
Bridgeway
ago.
still down there?
Bridgeway.
The Bridgeway restaurant, you tie your boat right up. It's
I
right
think
at Hummerock.
That's in Hummerock.
It's
That's
in
right.
Hummerock, yeah.
I'm not familiar with that restaurant.
Okay, I don't know if it's still there or not. It used to be there. It was there a long time.
Right.
It's been there forever.
Sure.
So, and then you go down through Brant Rock, and there's a lot of nice area down
That's
there.
right.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of great restaurants that corner of the city or the corner of the state as
Yeah.
well.
Wow.
Lots of places for seafood. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful.
So, any upcoming plans for the fall?
Upcoming plans, we got 2 weeks before school starts, so we haven't even thought that far yet.
Oh boy.
You know, and for us, you know, after September, 2 weeks after, that's when we pick up our busy season once again.
Okay.
Then we got Thanksgiving to look forward to, and Halloween. Then
Right.
of course we have our December Christmas and the infamous New Year's Eve for Chinese restaurant.
Oh boy,
RD.
that's the big one for all of
big
you,
one,
all
that's
of you
right.
folks. Now, every year you do the downtown family night.
Yes.
And your spread is probably one of the busier ones down there.
Right.
You actually have to do 2 of everything, correct?
We try to do 2 of everything. I think we put out about 100 seatings outside.
Wow. Now, did you notice that this year, more so than other, there was the biggest crowd? To me, it's the biggest crowd I've ever
Right.
seen there. There was just wall-to-wall people.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it so crowded. I've never been so happy to see so many
Right.
people out. Some of it was the weather, because the last 2 years, I think, were really hot, and before that it rained. And this year it wasn't that bad. But I've just never seen the streets so crowded. I was
Right.
so impressed by all that.
It was actually busy. I think one of the busiest that we had since we had the downtown family day.
Pardon my reach here. And part of this show is that we do with the Mansfield Kitchen Sink at gmail.com.
Sure.
People do write in questions.
Right.
And you're not the first one to ask one. I have one here from a viewer. It said, like to know if any of the restaurant owners are aware, or any of the downtown business owners are aware of a $30,000 donation given to the downtown by the folks at Mansfield Crossing, the mall. And are you aware of that at all, or?
You know, I mean, prior to coming on the show, you were asking me the question, and I think one of the answers to the question was that we actually designed the downtown flags on the lampposts.
Right.
Some of the money went to there, so it kind of brought back a little memory.
Right.
Downtown Business Association handles a lot of the money, the funds.
Right.
They disperse these monies.
Are you active in that, or?
We were participants. You know, it's very difficult sometimes to get the
Right.
organization going because, as you know, business comes and goes in downtown.
Oh yeah.
And not everybody has the time or the funds to basically to run it. And I know Jay Barrow is very, very much involved in that.
Yeah, we'd like to have Jay on and talk to him about this,
Right.
because this is over my head. I don't understand some of this.
But a lot of
stuff.
the funds, I mean, which we raise a lot together, you know, we, and this one particular, I have to imagine that does go to, the Halloween trick-or-treating.
Right.
The safe Halloween trick-or-treating. I'm sure some of the money goes to Christmas parade.
Right.
Other parade events. I know that we used to do the downtown Halloween hayride,
Right.
things as such. So I'm sure a lot of the money has been dispersed to those events.
Okay, so
And-
it's for events like that, and not specifically for.
Well, I think everything that would basically will benefit and help the local citizen to bring them to downtown
Right.
Mansfield and to basically make downtown better than what it was a year ago, and hopefully
Right.
be better a year from now.
Right. Now, I don't know if you may not know the answer to this or not, but who's the newest business in the center of town? Is it the florist, or is it there's somebody newer?
I have not been fortunate to introduce myself yet. As you
Okay.
know, I just came back from Situate, so I believe they've opened up a little bit over a month ago.
Okay.
I think they will be very successful, to be quite honest with you.
Right.
I think it's a very, very
Yeah,
nice building.
We had
and
discussed
nice
the florist in town before. I think the people that were the florists before, they didn't really have a good location, because it was kind of by the time you saw it on some of the, you went by it, and
You mean Shepherd's?
yeah.
Well, I mean, Shepherd's been around for a long, long time.
Right, but they were always down on,
Right.
they were always down on,
They're basically behind Jay Barrow's building.
right.
Which is kind of